Hey there, Jordan with Status Coup, coming to you live a little bit earlier today because there is shit ton of breaking news pertaining to the FBI raid on Tuesday of Mar-a-Lago, Trump's compound there. There's a whole lot of breaking news. Let me just wait for folks to trickle in here. Hold on. Smash the like button, share this live stream. I'm going to wait for folks to trickle in here because I am live earlier than I normally am. Trickle in here. I'm not seeing the thumbnail, by the way, Colin. It's showing up as just the generic thumbnail on YouTube, if you can fix that. Press the like button, share this live stream so we can get it out to as many people as possible. There's a shit ton going on, so let me just kind of give you a quick recap. Smash the like button, share this live stream so we can get it out to as many people as possible. Couple things. Number one, this morning there was a man with an AR-15 who attacked the Ohio FBI office. So we'll get into that in a little bit. As of now, I don't know if they've caught him. We don't know if this man, whether it was linked to the raid on Trump's compound. I assume it was. So that's ongoing. Merrick Garland, the Attorney General of the United States, will be issuing a statement, we're told, in 15 minutes on Tuesday's raid of Mar-a-Lago. And the New York Times has broken quite a bit of important information that sheds light on what came before this raid and what this raid might have been about. I just want to wait till we get a couple more people in here so I don't have to start again. Keep smashing that like button. Keep sharing this live stream. We got 100 people watching, but only 35 have pressed the like button. So please, please smash that like button. I will start before we get to the New York Times reporting. If you didn't see that there was an incident at the Ohio FBI office this morning, Colin, if we could pull that Huffington Post article up. Suspect threatens FBI in Cincinnati, trades gunfire with police. So this happened in Cincinnati, Ohio this morning. Obviously, there has been a ton of death threats that have come in against the FBI nationally, FBI offices around the country, Department of Justice, Attorney General Merrick Garland, since the raid on Trump's Mar-a-Lago. But this happened in Cincinnati, Ohio. Police have exchanged gunfire with an armed man after he made threats at an FBI building in Cincinnati, according to reports. The incident began Thursday morning after a man armed with a gun showed up to the building and began making threats, the FBI said in a statement. Quote, at approximately 9 a.m. this morning, an armed subject attempted to breach the visitor screening facility at the FBI in Cincinnati. After an alarm and a response by FBI special agents, the subject fled north onto Interstate 71. Clinton County, Ohio's emergency agency has issued a lockdown order for a 1-mile radius near the building and said police have exchanged gunfire with the suspect. Quote, law enforcement has traded shots with a male suspect who was wearing a gray shirt and body armor. The alert said there's no longer a threat to the FBI building, officials told WLWT, but a standoff has occurred several miles away. The FBI has faced increased threats over the past couple of days following the execution of a search warrant at Mar-a-Lago, the Florida home of former President Trump. The search appeared to be related to classified material. So that's at the Cincinnati, Ohio FBI building. We'll talk about the FBI a little bit later because apparently the new argument on the left is that you're cheering the FBI and you're pro FBI if you think it's a good thing that a former president who might have committed crimes is held accountable. If you've been seeing that argument by people like Jimmy Dore and others. We'll get to that later. Now, again, keep smashing the like button. Keep sharing this live stream. Obviously, I'm early, so the more people that press like, the more people that will see this. It looks like in about a little over 10 minutes, Attorney General Merrick Garland will be speaking and issuing a statement on that raid a couple days ago. So we will air that when the Attorney General speaks. So whatever you think of the FBI, the bottom line is it's probable, almost definite, that this attack on the Ohio FBI in Cincinnati is linked to the Mar-a-Lago raid on Tuesday. Obviously, Fox News, right-wingers, leftists have been ranting for days that this is tyranny and this is the end of the republic and the FBI is evil. They seem to love the FBI when there was a chance that the FBI was going to indict Hillary Clinton. You remember that? I'm old enough to remember when Fox News, all these right-wingers, Jimmy Dore and leftists like him, they loved the FBI when there was a chance the FBI was going to indict indict Hillary Clinton. Now they hate the FBI because they raided Mar-a-Lago. Kind of interesting. Now let's get to the New York Times. And again, Merrick Garland is going to issue a statement in about 10 minutes. So we'll try to air that live. Let's go to the New York Times because they have important information that sheds a lot more light on why Donald Trump's compound there in Florida was raided on Tuesday. Headline: subpoena preceded search warrant ahead of FBI search. Former President Donald Trump received a subpoena this spring in search of documents that federal investigators believed he had failed to turn over earlier in the year when he returned boxes of material he had improperly taken with him upon moving out of the White House, 3 people familiar with the matter said. The existence of the subpoena helps to flesh out the sequence of events that led to the search of Trump's Florida home on Monday by FBI agents seeking classified material they believed might still be there, even after efforts by the National Archives and the Justice Department to ensure that it had been returned. The subpoena suggests that the Justice Department tried methods short of a search warrant to account for the material before taking the politically explosive step of sending FBI agents unannounced to Mar-a-Lago, Mr. Trump's home and members-only club. 2 people briefed on the classified documents that investigators believe remained at Mar-a-Lago indicated that they were so sensitive in nature and related to national security that the Justice Department had to act. The subpoena was first disclosed by John Solomon, a conservative journalist who has also been designated by Mr. Trump as one of his representatives to the National Archives. The existence of the subpoena is being used by allies of Mr. Trump to make a case that the former president and his team were cooperating with the Justice Department in identifying and returning the documents in question, that the search was unjustified. The Justice Department declined to comment. Christina Bobb, a lawyer working for Mr. Trump, did not respond to messages. It is not clear what precise materials the subpoena sought or what documents the former president might have provided in response. The subpoena factored into a visit that Jay Bratt, the Justice Department's top counterintelligence official, made with a small group of other federal officials to Mar-a-Lago weeks later in early June, one of the people said. So before we go further, let me just kind of explain how this works, because I can tell you based on my reporting on Flint. So, for example, as you know, Status Coup, myself, have been reporting on the Flint water cover-up for many, many years. And a reminder, smash that like button, share this live stream. Attorney General Merrick Garland, we believe, is going to speak in about 8 minutes. Hopefully he's on time. We'll try to air that live. So for politicians or anybody, first, you just issue a subpoena that we're looking for these documents. So we need you to return these documents to us. Could be documents, could be data from a cell phone, whatever. What I think happened here, Trump and his lawyers, they might have complied with the subpoena and returned, whether it be boxes, however many documents, but clearly, there is some type of witness or source or informant that the FBI had that reached out to the FBI saying, yeah, they have not honored this subpoena. I have information, an informant or a source. I have information, probably because it's somebody within Mar-a-Lago that works there or is a Trump ally, who knows. I have information that the president has not returned all of the material that he took from the White House, which is classified information. The fact that this raid at Mar-a-Lago, I've never been there, but it's humongous. The folks in the FBI had to have known specifically where to look because it took less than a day. If they didn't know exactly where to look, this raid could have been going on for multiple days. So Trump did not honor the subpoena based on what the New York Times is reporting. There was more material that he did not return, that he did not, to the letter of the law, to the subpoena, that he did not return. And that is why they raided him. Now, to the naysayers and the people who want to conflate the FBI is bad, the FBI should be abolished, so this is bunk. I understand nuance. I understand nuance is no longer a thing on the internet. I understand that people like Jimmy Dore and other leftists are just tossing out complete strawmans that, oh, you're cheering the FBI if you're for this. Well, back in the day, I remember people like Jimmy Dore and Fox News and all these right-wingers screaming tyranny right now. Wait, they were very much cheering the FBI when there was a chance that Hillary Clinton could have been indicted over her private server and emails. By the way, I said it back then, she should have been indicted over her private server and emails. Let me repeat, she should have been indicted over her private server and emails. But they loved the FBI when it was possible they were going after the politician they don't like, that they find corrupt. Now we have to abolish the FBI because they're going after President Trump. Interesting how that tribalism and partisanship works. Now, a little bit later, I'll get into the FBI and the long history of tyranny, going after indigenous people, going after black people, Leonard Peltier, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Black Panthers. We could go on and on. I'm no champion of the FBI, but you could dislike the FBI. You could think even the FBI needs to be abolished, but not toss out these bullshit straw man arguments that, oh, well, the FBI, because it's tyranny and this and that, Trump should walk. And, oh, the raid on Trump, you're cheering the FBI if you think it's a good thing. Well, I don't know. I think it's not only a leftist value, but just a common sense value that if a president, a politician, anyone potentially committed crimes, you should want them held accountable. Do you think Fox News or Jimmy Dore would be saying what they're saying right now if that raid was on Hunter Biden's home? Seriously, do you think? So let's continue. And again, Merrick Garland is supposed to speak soon. This is from the New York Times. The officials met with Mr. Trump's lawyer, Evan Corcoran. Mr. Trump, who likes to play host and has a long history of trying to charm officials inquiring about his practices, also made an appearance. This is talking about when apparently either the FBI or DOJ lawyers met with Mr. Trump's lawyers down at Mar-a-Lago a couple months ago. During the visit, the officials examined a basement storage area where the former president had stowed material that had come with him from the White House. A few days after the visit, Mr. Bratt emailed Mr. Corcoran and told him to further secure remaining documents, which were kept in the storage area with a stronger padlock, one of the people said. The email was reported earlier by the Wall Street Journal. Then they subpoenaed surveillance footage from the club, which could have given officials a glimpse of who was coming in and out of the storage area, according to a person with knowledge of the matter. They received footage specifically from areas of the club where they believed the documents might have been stored, the person said. During the same period, investigators were in contact with a number of Mr. Trump's aides who had some visibility into how he stored and moved documents around the White House and who still worked for him, 3 people familiar with the events said. Among those whom investigators reached out to was Molly Michael, Mr. Trump's assistant in the Outer Oval Office, who also went to work with him at Mar-a-Lago. 3 people familiar with the outreach said. Investigators have also reached out to Derek Lyons, the former White House staff secretary, whose last day was December 18th, 2020, and no longer works for Trump, with questions about the process for handling documents, according to a person familiar with the outreach. By the way, it's very, very obvious the Department of Justice leaked all this information to the New York Times. So just so you know, the New York Times sources are, I'm 99% sure, is the Department of Justice and the FBI. Federal officials came to believe that Mr. Trump had not relinquished all the material that left the White House with him at the end of his term, according to three people familiar with the investigation. So what that means, folks, what that means to all the right wingers that are triggered, it means Trump did not comply with the subpoena from the Department of Justice. To be clear, Trump did not comply with the subpoena to return all classified information that he took from the White House to the Mar-a-Lago. Now, remember, the right wing was hysterical for years over Hillary Clinton mishandling classified information. A lot of leftists were hysterical over Hillary Clinton mishandling classified information. Donald Trump took boxes of classified information from the White House to Mar-a-Lago, and he was issued a subpoena, which is not an aggressive. It's legally, that's one of the lesser aggressive moves you could take to return the material. He returned some of the material, but not all. That is not honoring the subpoena. And frankly, then you have to wonder, if you're the Department of Justice, if you're the FBI, what does he have that he has not returned? Why? What is the motive for not returning the information? And also, there's people, including foreign dignitaries, that go in and out of Mar-a-Lago every day. So, I mean, who knows how he's storing this material, but he didn't honor the subpoena. If somebody's not honoring a subpoena, you have two choices. You either go to a judge and say, we need a search warrant because this subject or this potential criminal is defying the subpoena they received, or you let him get away with it. So it's very simple. Trump kept documents. He gave back some of it. He hid however much and didn't return it. And that's why they did what they did. Now, that's not me like cheering for the FBI, which is a nonsense, reactionary, straw man bullshit thing that people like Jimmy Dore, who whatever people want to call him these days, I wouldn't call him a leftist. He's running cover for Trump, and right wingers are pushing out there. It's not cheering the FBI. These same people would be cheering and slobbering if Hunter Biden was raided by the FBI. By the way, Hunter Biden should be raided by the FBI. So if you're a neoliberal watching, if you're like a Hillary or Biden stan, I'm not your man. Hillary should have been indicted for what she did with her private server in the basement for the emails. Hunter Biden, frankly, should be indicted. It is clear corruption. I ain't team blue or team red. I'm calling out corruption wherever it is. And we have to be consistent. And I remember I was at TYT. Jimmy didn't have a problem with the FBI then when they were possibly going to indict Hillary Clinton. The right wingers all hysterical right now. I don't recall them having such a grave concern. The FBI is tyrannical when it was against Hillary Clinton, but now it's against Donald Trump. Oh my God, we need to abolish the FBI. It's time for war. Fox News hosts are saying when we retake the House, we're going to abolish the FBI, abolish the DOJ. We're going to hold all these people accountable. Give me a fucking break. There is legitimate reasons to want to abolish the FBI. I give you what they did to Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, the Black Panthers, Leonard Peltier. If you don't know that name, look it up. He is the longest serving political prisoner in American history, a Native American who has been in prison for 45 years for a crime there is no evidence of having committed. But the FBI has kept him there because if they actually told the truth, it would show that the FBI pinned a crime on this Native American man, who, by the way, is 77 years old with health problems and is probably going to die in prison. So plenty of reasons to want to abolish the FBI. Them raiding Donald Trump's compound because he might have committed crimes, not one of them. So if you want to listen to people like Jimmy Dore who are winking to the right wing, because most of his audience is right wing now, and putting out straw mans that you're cheering the FBI. Yeah, no, you're not cheering the FBI by thinking Donald Trump or other corrupt politicians should be held accountable. And Colin, just let me know when Merrick Garland is speaking. On my feed, I don't see him. speaking. He's supposed to issue a statement now, so we'll try to air that when Merrick Garland speaks. So let's give you more information, because the bottom line is they didn't just go willy-nilly in to raid Donald Trump for shits and giggles. They didn't go in as the first resort. He defied a subpoena. Let me repeat. He defied a subpoena. He's not entitled to whatever classified information he took. And you have to wonder, why would he take classified information to Mar-a-Lago? And then you have to wonder, why wouldn't he return all of it? Is there something he took that he doesn't want returned? Are there materials there that might implicate him in some type of crime? I mean, you don't have to be a rocket science. Why would someone take the step to defy a subpoena and not return all classified material? Also, we don't know the nature of the classified material. It could have to do with his business. It could have to do with his business dealings when he was president. It might have to do with January 6th. We don't know. All right, let's read more of the New York Times, because there's more revelations in here. Less than 2 months later, about 24 FBI agents, intentionally not wearing the blue windbreakers emblazoned with the agency's logo, usually worn during searches, appeared at Mar-a-Lago with a warrant. The club was closed. Mr. Trump was in the New York area. The FBI startled a crew fixing a large fountain, a maid who was dusting, and a handful of Secret Service agents who guard the complex. The search warrant, which again, this search warrant, there is no chance in hell it wasn't signed off on by the Attorney General, the FBI director, very, very high-level officials within the FBI. This had to have been approved at the highest levels of government, and probably the process for this search warrant was not in a day. It probably lingered over weeks. The search warrant was broad, allowing the agents to investigate all areas of the club where classified materials might have been stored. They went through the basement, Mr. Trump's office, and at least part of his residence at the club. After hours of searching, they left with several boxes that were not filled to the brim, and in at least some cases simply contained seal envelopes of material that the agents took and were otherwise empty, one person familiar with the search said. The person said the FBI left behind a manifest of what was taken, which was 2 pages long. Mr. Trump's team has declined to disclose the contents of the search warrant. I wonder why. A number of organizations, including the New York Times, are seeking in federal court to have it unsealed. Let me explain why that's really, really important. And again, Colin, just fill me in when Merrick Garland makes his statement. Trump, who's been pushing this to great effect, very smart political strategy to make yourself the victim, to call this tyranny, to get Fox News and the rest of the right-wing political machine to back you up. He could just show the search warrant. But on the search warrant, any search warrant I've ever known of has the potential crimes on it that they believe you've committed. So the search warrant that Donald Trump has would have on it what crimes they believe he committed. Well, if there are crimes on there beyond mishandling classified information, which again, Hillary Clinton got off of mishandling classified information. If Donald Trump was taken down for mishandling classified information, there would seem to be a double standard there politically. So there's possibly a strong chance that whatever crimes are on that search warrant go beyond mishandling classified information, which clearly Donald Trump would not want out in the public. So he could have very easily, if whatever was on the search warrant backed up his claim that this is bullshit, that this is tyranny, that he is the most targeted president in American history, he could have just shown the search warrant. It's very likely his lawyers are telling him, do not show that search warrant. Let's continue with the New York Times story and smash that like button, share this live stream. We have almost 700 people watching. Now, this part is very important. Some senior Republicans have been warned by allies of Trump not to continue to be aggressive in criticizing the Justice Department and the FBI over the matter, because it is possible that more damaging information about Mr. Trump related to the search will eventually become public. Let me repeat this. Some senior Republicans have been warned by allies of Mr. Trump not to continue to be aggressive in criticizing the Justice Department and the FBI over the matter because it is possible that more damaging information about Mr. Trump related to the search will eventually become public. When Mr. Trump left the White House after refusing to concede that he had lost the 2020 election and seeking frantically to stay in power, a number of boxes of material made their way from the West Wing to Florida. In the boxes was the mash of papers, along with items like a raincoat and golf balls, according to people briefed on the contents. The National Archives tried for months after Trump left office to retrieve the material, engaging in lengthy discussion with representatives for the former president to acquire material that should have been properly stored by the archives under the Presidential Records Act. When archivists recovered 15 boxes of material this year, they discovered several pages of classified material and referred the matter to the Justice Department. But officials later came to believe that additional classified materials remained at Mar-a-Lago. That's why I believe that they had a source within Mar-a-Lago contacting the FBI or the Department of Justice telling them, yeah, he didn't return everything. There's smoking gun information here. There's documents here that he doesn't want you to have, et cetera, et cetera. So this is tyranny against Trump. Well, conservatives and Fox News and, the leftists who seem to be running cover for Trump, simple question. Why didn't Trump honor the subpoena? I mean, you don't have to be a top-rate lawyer to know when you could issue a subpoena to people that you don't necessarily think have committed crimes. Plenty of times in legal proceedings, you subpoena people because you want to interview them, not because you think they committed a crime, but you think they have information or can serve as a witness against somebody else that you believe have committed crimes. You could be asking people, subpoenaing people for information or documents, not because you believe they issued a crime or they committed a crime, but you think they have information about another one of your targets that has committed a crime. So in law, I'm not a lawyer, but I've covered, the Flint water cover up and a lot of other cases. Issuing a subpoena is the least aggressive thing the FBI, the DOJ can do. They did not initially act aggressively. They issued a they issued a subpoena for Trump to simply hand back whatever information he had there. Trump defied the subpoena. All we hear about from the right wing is rule of law, rule of law, rule of law. Trump was the law and order candidate, even though he's been breaking laws basically since the 1970s. If you live in New York, you know about Trump's history of money laundering. You know about his connections to the mafia. That's why I said, even when I was at the Young Turks, this whole Russiagate thing is bullshit. It's not that Trump colluded with the Russian government. There was never any evidence of that. I've been consistent that I thought Russiagate was baloney. Not that Russia didn't want Trump to win, but there was never any evidence that Trump actually was working with the Russians to win the election or steal the election. There was a whole lot of evidence, and there was New York reporters who revealed this back in the 90s, that Trump did money laundering. Trump money laundered through his real estate business through Russia, through Saudi Arabia. He's committed crimes for years: illegal tax evasion, illegally inflating your business numbers, et cetera, et cetera. That's why he never wanted to hand over his tax returns, and he's been perennially under audit by the FBI. Under audit by the IRS, which has always been bullshit. So at the end of the day, it's very clear the DOJ and FBI tried the least aggressive, the least invasive approach, and Trump defied them. Now, you tell me how the right wing, how Fox News, how Jimmy Dore, how all these people would react if it came out that Hunter Biden was issued a subpoena for all of his business dealings in Ukraine and all of his business dealings in China. All of his communications. We want emails. We want documents. We want your contract with the board of Burisma that he was on, the natural oil company that he was on the board and getting paid $50,000 a month, basically in a corrupt deal because he was the son of then Vice President Biden. You tell me how they would react if Hunter Biden gave them some of it, but it was learned that he didn't give all of it You think they'd be hyperventilating about the tyranny of the FBI? I don't think so. They'd be hyperventilating that Hunter Biden isn't behind a padlocked door yet. They'd be hyperventilating that Hunter Biden hadn't been raided. By the way, I'm for Hunter Biden being indicted. He clearly broke many laws. So it's all bullshit. It's all hypocrisy. This is supposed leftists winking and running cover to a right-wing audience. They're running cover for Trump. And it's appalling. It really is pathetic that people actually buy this bullshit from people like Jimmy Dore and others. Not liking the FBI or hating the FBI or thinking it should be abolished, that's all valid. I've already listed the many crimes of the FBI. Leonard Peltier, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, the Black Panthers. They even were surveilling JFK. I mean, that's just a few of them. I'm totally for getting rid of the FBI. But I'm not going to sit here and being like, the biggest tyranny and crime of the FBI is them raiding Mar-a-Lago. Please. But there's more. Colin, if we could show this Yahoo story. And by the way, if you came to this late, I started this live stream with the details that a Cincinnati FBI office today was attacked. By a man wielding a gun. I don't know if they've caught the man yet. I don't know if it's linked to the Mar-a-Lago raid. I'm pretty sure it is linked to it. But this is what happens when you have the right-wing machine hyperventilating, calling for war, calling this the end of the republic, calling for tyranny, all of this stuff, saying when we retake the House, we're coming for all of them. You incite the crazies. So this is what happened. A man with a gun attacked the FBI office in Cincinnati. As far as I know, nobody was hurt. When I came live, they were still searching for the man. I don't know if they've found him. But let me show you this Yahoo story, which gives more information. And please smash that like button. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. We will read your super chats at the end. And I believe we're still waiting for Merrick Garland, who is supposed to make a statement at 2:30, but has not yet made the statement. So we'll bring you his statement when he makes the statement. Let me play this. This is from Yahoo. FBI warrant for search of Trump home may involve suspected violations of the Espionage Act, former chief of the Department of Justice National Security says. The former chief of the Justice Department National Security Division said Tuesday that the FBI warrant for the search of Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home in Palm Beach, Florida, suggests prosecutors believe they have probable cause that there may have been violations of the World War I era Espionage Act. That law has traditionally been used to target government leakers such as former NSA contractor Edward Snowden. They're also using it in a disgusting way against Julian Assange, who should be freed immediately. Julian Assange did not commit any crimes. His only crime was the tyranny of releasing true information on Hillary Clinton's campaign. He has been a political prisoner for now over a decade. He is languishing away in a UK prison. Mentally, he is not well. Physically, he is not well. He has 2 children and a wife that he has been kept away from. There is no evidence he ever committed any crimes pertaining to Chelsea Manning and her releasing classified information. I just wanted to put that out there. If you don't agree, that's fine. But they're going after Julian Assange because to them, he worked to bring down Hillary Clinton, which he didn't. But going on with this Yahoo story. That law has traditionally been used to target government leakers such as former NSA contractor Edward Snowden, but it's also, quote, actually has provisions that apply to essentially the mishandling of classified material through gross negligence, permitting documents to be removed from their proper place or to be lost, stolen, or destroyed. Mary McCord, a veteran federal prosecutor who headed DOJ's National Security Division in the closing years of the Obama administration, told Yahoo News' podcast. I want to kind of highlight here, through gross negligence, permitting documents to be removed from their proper place or to be lost, stolen, or destroyed. Remember, there has been reports that Donald Trump has flushed things down the toilet. I mean, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it's not true, but I would not put it past. This is Donald Trump we're talking about. There have been reports that he has tried to destroy documents. So, according to the Espionage Act, that would be a violation of the Espionage Act. Now, McCord said that the Espionage Act is one of two federal crimes that prosecutors may be focusing on in their warrant to search Trump's home. The other, she said, is another federal statute that targets anyone who, quote, willfully and unlawfully conceals, removes, mutilates, obliterates, falsifies, or destroys public records. So, Colin, come back to me. Remember, I said, if this is all true, if Trump is a victim of the politicization of the FBI, of a tyrannical FBI, he's the most prosecuted, targeted president in modern history or in history, period, you would think he would want to show us the search warrant. But again, the search warrant is going to have the crimes that the DOJ and FBI believe Donald Trump has committed. The search warrant, to get a judge to sign off on it, you have to have evidence, recent evidence, not like evidence from a year ago. Evidence, I believe it's within 45 days. I might be wrong about that, but I believe you have to have fresh evidence that a crime has been committed. Well, that search warrant might have on it things like, let's go back to the Yahoo News story. That search warrant could have things on it like willfully and unlawfully concealing, removing, mutilating, obliterating, or falsifying or destroying public records. You think Donald Trump wants to show that search warrant if that's what's on it? You think Donald Trump is going to show that search warrant if that is what's on it? You think Donald Trump wants to show that search warrant if on it is him potentially violating the Espionage Act, him potentially destroying classified documents? I don't think so. And by the way, Fox News is one of the most sophisticated propaganda machines in modern history. I know because I worked there, 15 years ago? I got out of there pretty quickly, but I worked there right out of college. That's a story for another day. Even Fox News would have a hard time spinning that one. If the search warrant says Donald Trump mutilated or destroyed classified material. Let's keep reading. McCord noted that the decision to search Trump's home could only have been conducted with the approval of a federal judge based on an affidavit from the FBI that there was evidence of a crime at Mar-a-Lago at the time of the search. Quote, so it couldn't be, we thought the stuff was there a year ago, but not now. It would have to be probable cause to believe that evidence of a crime exists in that location at that time. And that means that the Department of Justice, probably at the highest levels, probably all the way up to the Attorney General, agreed that this was a step that was not only legally supportable, but also important to take. One factor that McCord suggested would be on the minds of DOJ national security lawyers is what Trump might have done with the highly classified material that was still believed to be at Mar-a-Lago. Quote, are we worried that some of this information would actually be shared outside of Mar-a-Lago, potentially with foreign adversaries? I'd really be concerned about that, she said. What follows is so that's an interview with this former FBI prosecutor. So, CC, getting a warrant is easy. Come on, man. I think you're probably smoking something really strong if you think it's very easy to get a warrant on the former president of the United States. Definitely not. That's why I'm saying this process probably went on for weeks, if not months. For weeks, if not months. So just for reference, I want to read to you, and this will be quick, but I want to read to you part of my reporting on the Flint water cover-up. This is from The Intercept. I did a story for them. I've done several stories for The Intercept, for The Guardian, and other places. But I want to read to you part of this because this is on a state government level. So this is on a state government level, but it kind of gives you a little bit of information and background on the subpoena process and search warrants. Colin, if you could go to that Intercept story, it's pretty far down there that I'm reading for. You could just keyword as Flint prosecutors on that Flint story. Now, let me know when you have it. As Flint prosecutors. Okay. As Flint prosecutors and investigators discovered the lack of phone messages and Snyder's questionable internal investigations, talking about the former governor of Michigan, Rick Snyder, they were also waging a 3-year behind-the-scenes legal battle with Snyder and his attorneys. On June 10th, 2016, Snyder was served with an investigative subpoena, documents obtained by The Intercept show. And again, I reported this for The Intercept. The subpoena sought documents and communications that the governor and his top officials had about Flint's water dating back to when the governor entered office in 2011. Soon after, Snyder's lawyer responded with 29 objections, documents obtained by The Intercept show, with Snyder's lawyers pointing to the heavily redacted 117,000 pages of, quote, responsive documents that Snyder had already made public. A few months later, in the fall of 2016, Snyder, with no court order in place that compelled him to provide the documents, continued to withhold the majority of documents and communications that he was subpoenaed for months earlier, according to multiple sources familiar with the criminal investigation, and documents obtained by The Intercept. With Snyder and his attorney stonewalling, Special Prosecutor Flood, there was a special prosecutor appointed, think of like a Robert Mueller, but this for the Flint water investigation. Special Prosecutor Flood pushed to execute a search warrant on the governor's office. Multiple sources familiar with the criminal investigation told The Intercept. But Bill Schuette, the Republican Attorney General at the time, who was going to go on and run to become governor, denied the request. So that is essentially what happened here, only the request was denied in the case of raiding Governor Snyder's office for politics. So to be clear, Governor Snyder, at the time of this investigation, he was in his second term. So he was term limited. He couldn't run for office. He couldn't run for governor again after the end of his second term. The Attorney General, Bill Schuette, was a Republican. He was going to run to replace Snyder, who couldn't run again. So probably wouldn't be good for the Republican Attorney General, who wants to secede Rick Snyder as governor, to approve raiding the Republican governor's office. So for political reasons, that Attorney General would not allow his prosecutors, his investigators, to raid the governor's office. Not because the governor's office shouldn't have been raided. It should have. He's committed crimes, Rick Snyder. His top allies have committed crimes. Over 8 years later, the water in Flint is still not clean. It's still toxic, as I've reported. Not one state of Michigan official has even seen a jury trial, much less been convicted, as the people of Flint continue to die of illnesses related to this water. But I wanted to read that to you because it explains they did what the DOJ and FBI did. They issued a subpoena for Governor Snyder to provide documents, communications, briefings he received. Governor Snyder stalled, stonewalled, evaded, would not give the documents. And the special prosecutor went to the Attorney General and said, we need to issue a search warrant. We need to basically raid and take the material because he's not going to give it to us. And for political reasons, not the Republican Attorney General not wanting to raid the Republican governor's office, which would not be good for the Attorney General if he's trying to run for governor. You're not going to get that Republican donor money if you're raiding the Republican governor. He shot it down. That's basically what happened here. Only Merrick Garland and the judge approved of the FBI search warrant. And that's why the FBI raided Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago. To be clear, to the people saying this is politics, to the people saying, this is just going after your political opponents, we don't really know anything. Fox News is a propaganda mill. I mean, CNN and MSNBC are also propaganda mills, but Fox News is an arm of the Republican Party. So, of course, they're going to blow up. Of course, they're going to completely turn on a dime against the FBI, who they loved when there was a chance that Hillary Clinton was going to be indicted. They were cheering on the FBI to indict Hillary. They didn't believe the FBI should be abolished then. Like I said earlier, they would be completely cheering on the FBI if they were raiding Hunter Biden. So it's all partisan. It's all fucking tribalism and bullshit. That doesn't mean that Attorney General Merrick Garland, that the DOJ, that the FBI never do things for political reasons. But it's pretty unprecedented to literally raid a former president's house. You would have to think that in this case, they had legitimate evidence that a crime was committed. And I think that's why Merrick Garland is going to speak at some point. He was supposed to speak at 2:30, so he's a half hour late. Colin, is he late?
Yes. As far, I keep refreshing the page and nothing yet.
All right. Got it. So now let's get to the right-wing meltdown. Colin, can we show a clip of Steve Bannon? Steve Bannon, the Trump whisperer. Can we show a clip of Steve Bannon and his thoughts on this FBI raid?
Enough. Because in the righteous indignation of the American people, starting in January, we're going to investigate, we're going to litigate, and wait for it, we're going to incarcerate. Okay? Yep. You are lawless. You're running this like a Gestapo. You're going after a president of the United States and to know that you went to some Grundune magistrate. Let's see the affidavit and let's see it today.
The Gestapo. Well, I don't know. You don't have to be a real connoisseur of history. The Gestapo didn't take the time. The Gestapo didn't make the effort to issue a subpoena. They didn't issue subpoenas to the people they went in and raided and killed. They just fucking went in and raided and killed them. So it's complete lunacy. Steve Bannon, by the way, who defied, appearing before the January 6th hearing, who himself might go to jail at some point, which I wouldn't sneeze at. People like him, it's just one of the many right-wing freakouts. Colin, I know I didn't ask you for it, but if you get a chance to load it, you showed yesterday some of the right-wing freakouts. I'd love to show that today if people missed it. So if you have a chance to load that video, it would be great. But it's just amazing. It's just amazing. It's not even, hypocrisy is too much of an understatement. The sheer disingenuous, the sheer lack of any type of core principle or conviction. These are the people that for 2 years were ranting and raving and hyperventilating that Hillary Clinton has committed crimes, that she has traded secrets through email, that she cooked a home-baked private server. And frankly, to me, the private server was very low on the list of crimes that Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton committed. I didn't cover it that much. Do I think she should have been indicted? Yeah, probably. She did violate classified material. She did have a private server. If it was me, a government official who did it, you better believe they would have locked my ass up. So yes, Hillary Clinton should have been indicted. Was that the highest crime she's ever committed? No, it wasn't. But all of these people, and it's not just right wingers, by the way, Jimmy Dore and others were calling for Hillary Clinton to be indicted. They seemed to like the FBI then. They seemed to have no problem with the FBI then. They weren't talking about the FBI as tyrannical at that point. They were team FBI. I've never heard Fox News rant and rave when the FBI unlawfully, illegally raids black people, brown people, indigenous people, puts them behind bars when they're innocent. I certainly did not hear the Fox News, Steve Bannon, the right-wing machine ranting and raving when the FBI was literally working. The FBI and Homeland Security were working with Energy Transfer Partners and Tiger Swan, basically a Blackwater-type private mercenary, to infiltrate the camps at Standing Rock. Remember the Standing Rock protest against the Dakota Access Pipeline that I covered? I was there on and off for 6 months in 2016 and 2017. The Intercept did great reporting on this, that the FBI, Department of Justice, U.S. Marshals were literally working with the fossil fuckers, with the fossil fuel company to infiltrate the camp, to put in moles into the camp, to basically pin fake crimes on some of the leading indigenous activists at the camps, put them in prison. There were indigenous people that were put in prison for bullshit crimes because the FBI and the Department of Justice back then under Loretta Lynch and Obama were basically working to protect this oil company so that they could build their toxic pipeline on native land. I didn't hear any right-wing freak out about the FBI back then. Did you? I didn't hear any right-wing freak out about the FBI back then. I didn't even see the media cover it. That's called corporate fascism. When the U.S. government, FBI, Department of Justice, Homeland Security, the U.S. Marshals are working for and with a private oil company to terrorize indigenous people who are simply trying to stop a crude oil pipeline from going underneath the Missouri River, which feeds 20 million people, which serves 20 million people its drinking water. But all these right-wing people hyperventilating, they were quiet as a mouse back then. Colin, if we have it, let's play the right-wing freakout of recent days.
Was executed after a federal judge signed off finding probable cause. So is your issue with how, the criminal justice system works? I mean, what is it exactly?
Pamela, right. So this is actually very easy. And you and I were discussing this before. This has never been done in our history.
That is true.
To a former president, a political rival of the sitting president.
You believe that the Justice Department under President Biden is trying to go after his political rival, Donald Trump?
No, Pamela,
Okay.
I didn't say that. Thanks for trying to put words in my mouth.
I did not try to. I'm trying to clarify to make sure.
This is a witch hunt. This is a Stalinist hunt.
I mean, this was a highly performative raid, Rob. You had the entire circle around President Trump's great American flag full of black SUVs. The FBI even rented a rider truck so they could bring in like 30 armed agents to Mar-a-Lago, of all places.
The president is presumed innocent until proven otherwise. And I agree with that. But your speculation, I just think, is just
I don't think it's speculation at all. You do not break into a house of a guy that you've been working with for 9 months, that you have to admit has been cooperating with you for presidential records? No.
Can I ask you a question?
No. I'm going to answer your question.
Yes, ma'am.
And you do not do that and have guys with AR-15 and women, I might add, at the front of Mar-a-Lago, illegitimate and immoral, and the country knows it. And you have destroyed our faith in the justice system.
Just one question, Judge.
And it's not Donald Trump's fault. It's their fault.
His lawyers have that search warrant. They could release
And
it.
the government can answer the question.
All right.
I'm angry. I feel violated. The whole country feels violated. It's disgusting. They've declared war on us, and now it's game on. Imagine you're Eric Trump and you're at Mar-a-Lago. That's your home. Your mother has just died 2 weeks ago, and they're sending FBI agents with weapons into your house, violating your privacy like that. It's unbelievable. They are in search to try and destroy Trump. They had conducted a criminal investigation. They failed. They have an investigation in New York with the Attorney General that's going to fail. They have a Democrat. Oh, Christ. You're cutting me off early. I'm done.
I'm not trying. No. Finish that thought. Last one. You were talking about you got.
Fox News feels violated. Fox News feels violated. Colin, Merrick Garland is speaking.
The search warrant was authorized by a federal court upon the required finding of probable cause. The property receipt is a document that federal law requires law enforcement agents to leave with the property owner. The department filed the motion to make public the warrant and receipt in light of the former president's public confirmation of the search, the surrounding circumstances, and the substantial public interest in this matter. Faithful adherence to the rule of law is the bedrock principle of the Justice Department and of our democracy. Upholding the rule of law means applying the law evenly, without fear or favor. Under my watch, that is precisely what the Justice Department is doing. All Americans are entitled to the even-handed application of the law, to due process of the law, and to the presumption of innocence. Much of our work is by necessity conducted out of the public eye. We do that to protect the constitutional rights of all Americans and to protect the integrity of our investigations. Federal law, long-standing department rules, and our ethical obligations prevent me from providing further details as to the basis of the search at this time. There are, however, certain points I want you to know. First, I personally approved the decision to seek a search warrant in this matter. Second, the department does not take such a decision lightly. Where possible, it is standard practice to seek less intrusive means as an alternative to a search and to narrowly scope any search that is undertaken. Third, let me address recent unfounded attacks on the professionalism of the FBI and Justice Department agents and prosecutors. I will not stand by silently when their integrity is unfairly attacked. The men and women of the FBI and the Justice Department are dedicated, patriotic public servants. Every day, they protect the American people from violent crime, terrorism, and other threats to their safety while safeguarding our civil rights. They do so at great personal sacrifice and risk to themselves. I am honored to work alongside them. This is all I can say right now. More information will be made available in the appropriate way and at the appropriate time. Thank you.
Attorney General, the former president said this
FBI agents. Thank you all for your questions, but as I said, this is all I can say at this time.
So that was a short statement by Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, who, by the way, all these Republicans who care about the rule of law blocked him from serving on the Supreme Court. We should just say that when Obama, according to the Constitution, they love so much, appointed him as a nominee. Colin, if you have that thread I just sent you, we could just show Merrick Garland and what he said in that short statement. Let me know when you have it up. This is what Merrick Garland said. If you missed the beginning of that, it was kind of short and sweet, to the point, but the key points here, let me know when you have, there you go. Merrick Garland, AG Garland says that the Justice Department, that's the first one. You're on the second tweet. There we go. AG Garland says that the Justice Department has filed a motion in the Southern District of Florida to unseal a search warrant pertaining to the former president's property after Trump publicized the search. Merrick Garland says the attempt to unseal the search warrant comes, quote, in light of the former president's public confirmation of the search, the surrounding circumstances, and the substantial public interest in this matter. Garland, quote, first, I personally approved the decision to seek the search warrant in this matter. Second, the department does not take such a decision lightly. And then Garland hits at recent unfounded attacks on the professionalism of the FBI and Justice Department agents and prosecutors. Quote, I will not stand by silently when their integrity is unfairly attacked. The men and women of the FBI and the Justice Department are dedicated, patriotic public servants. So bottom line, the DOJ has filed to have the search warrant unsealed. So the right-wing hyperventilation machine, which we just showed you, they might be very, very upset. And they might actually have to be shooting themselves in the foot because all of this insanity of the last 2 days, all of this burn down the FBI, tyranny, tyranny, tyranny. This is the most persecuted president of all time. Victimhood, victimhood. As a result, Garland is filing a motion to unseal it. And by unsealing it, it is going to show us what the potential crimes are that the DOJ and FBI believe Donald Trump committed. To be clear, Colin, if we could go back to that New York Times article, to the part about if you just keyword Trump allies, or allies, just keyword the word allies. And some senior Republicans have been warned by allies of Mr. Trump, if you could find that part. Here we go. Some senior Republicans warned by Mr. Trump not to continue to be aggressive in criticizing the Justice Department and the FBI over the matter, because it is possible that more damaging information about Mr. Trump related to the search will eventually be released. So, to be clear, Trump allies, at first, very happy that everybody was falling in line. You know, all the ducks were in a row. You even had DeSantis come out in defense of Trump. Obviously, DeSantis wants to take Trump out in terms of the GOP nomination in 2024. Now, Trump's allies, according to the New York Times, they're saying, hey, cool it with criticizing the DOJ and the FBI because more damaging information that they know exists might be released. Well, I don't see a reason that the Florida judge won't rule to unseal the search warrant. And once that search warrant is unsealed, we'll know exactly why the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago. We'll know exactly what crimes they put on the search warrant they believe Trump committed. We're going to know quite a lot. So the right wing might have just literally politically shot themselves in the foot. I want to read a little bit more of this New York Times story because it has more good information. Some of Mr. Trump's advisors have maintained that they were trying all along to cooperate with federal officials and had kept an open line of communication. But others familiar with federal officials' efforts to recover the documents have painted a very different picture. They have said that Mr. Trump resisted returning property that belonged to the government despite being told that he needed to. Some of Mr. Trump's informal advisors outside his direct employ have insisted to him that he could claim the documents are personal items and keep them there. So again, go back to the beginning of this live stream. Donald Trump, as I said, defied the subpoena. Donald Trump, who's arguing, and his allies and the right-wing machine are arguing that he's a victim of tyranny, he did not comply with the subpoena to return all information. And it's not like they raided him because Trump, kept some of the china from the White House dinner table. It's not like they raided him because Trump kept mementos from the White House. Obviously, Donald Trump decided to keep certain things because Donald Trump believes that it is within his it is within his self-interest not to return certain things. I mean, whether you're a leftist or a Republican, whatever, just think common sense. Why do you think the president, when issued a subpoena to return all material, wouldn't return all material? If you are this blind and you are this much of a Trump right-wing sycophant that you think, oh, yeah, why should he have to return everything? Well, you people defending Trump were probably the same fucking people hyperventilating for 2 years that Hillary Clinton shared classified information through an unsecured private server and emails. You were calling for her to be indicted, and she should have been. So why are you all of a sudden, this is tyranny, and this is politics, and this is bullshit, and this is all lies? You are full of shit. If you have no core principles, if you are inconsistent, if you think one politician should go to The Hague for sharing classified information, but this one, because he's your fearless leader, is a victim of political persecution, then you're full of shit. And I am consistent. I don't think the private emails and server would on the list of Hillary Clinton's crimes. Number one, I give you the Clinton Foundation and a whole lot of other things that her and Bill Clinton have done that probably should have landed them in jail. And they're not in jail because they're rich, they're powerful, and they're a political dynasty. With that said, if you're going to go after Hillary Clinton for years, but you think Donald Trump, yeah, he should be able to keep classified material. It's the same thing with Benghazi. Let's rant and rave over 4 people dying in Benghazi. Tragic, yes. Let's call for impeachment hearings. Let's call for hearing after hearing. Let's cover it for 2 or 3 years on Fox News. January 6th, it was just an unruly protest. People died. It was just a walk at the park. Yeah, it was just a little protest that got out of hand. Benghazi, tyranny, the end of the republic. Hillary Clinton should be in prison. Obama should be impeached. January 6th, it was Antifa. It wasn't even Trump supporters. This is the problem with politics. This is the problem with partisan media. I also want to show something that I think is important. Here because yesterday, or I don't know when it was, Jimmy Dore had posted. Colin, do we have that clip? I put that tweet on the live stream sheet, so it should be the first under Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore had posted that Nina Turner, who obviously ran for Congress twice. She lost. I think she made some mistakes in her campaign. So this isn't me being team Nina Turner. I covered both campaigns. I think she made mistakes in both campaigns. In my last interview, I pointed out to her that I think you kind of muted yourself a little bit and we're not running as the Nina Turner everybody knew from you on the Bernie Sanders campaign trail. But putting that aside, Jimmy Dore tweeted that Nina Turner, let me get that tweet. He posted a tweet that Nina Turner put out. Nina Turner had tweeted, my prediction of the fallout of the FBI raiding Mar-a-Lago is that we're probably going to see a bunch of MAGA Republicans call to abolish the FBI. So Jimmy, which is what he typically does, it's just reactionary straw man bullshit. He wrote, when lefties cheer on the FBI, you know they're serious about being a Democrat. Huh. I don't know. I don't read her email that she was cheering on the FBI. From everything I could read, she's pointing out that the Republicans are complete hypocrites, which I've been pointing out. It's nonsensical. It makes no sense. It's just basically being a reactionary idiot because that's what he is now. I used to respect him, but what he's become is pathetic. So he's saying that Nina Turner pointing out that Republicans are hypocrites and now they're going to call to abolish the FBI is cheering on the FBI. Okay. So Nina Turner responded. If we have her response. Let me be clear. That's not the one I wanted. The second one, Colin. When Jimmy Dore knocks a black progressive woman for pointing out conservatives' hypocrisy when it comes to the FBI, you know he's serious about being anti-black and protecting conservatives. She went on to point out the obvious that she knows. Conservatives were okay with the FBI when it came to the Black Panthers, MLK, and Malcolm X. Now they have a problem with it. If you have a problem with me pointing that out, you're doing the bidding of these conservatives, which Jimmy is. And yes, doing the bidding of those conservatives by using a black woman's words is in fact anti-black. So I found this whole thing very interesting because Jimmy has a habit these days. I mean, if you actually watch his show and read the chat, it's a lot of right wingers. It's a lot of MAGA stuff. In the rare instances that he actually criticizes a Republican, he's criticized himself in the comments. But I found it very interesting because he has a habit of doing this straw man nonsense and trying to fit, square pegs into round holes, that it's celebrating the FBI by pointing out Republican hypocrisy. I guess it's celebrating the FBI to think it's a good thing that they raided Donald Trump if there's proof that Donald Trump committed crimes. I don't know. I thought it was a leftist position to believe corrupt politicians should be held accountable. Sure. They didn't hold Hillary Clinton accountable. Sure. They didn't hold the bankers accountable. Sure, they've never held a fossil fuel executive who's poisoning Earth accountable. We could all agree on that. Sure, we could even agree we should get rid of the FBI, reinvent it with something else that's less fucking corrupt, racist, that doesn't plant evidence on black, brown, indigenous people, poor white people. I'm with it. But the list of the FBI's crimes, it is completely nonsensical to point out, oh, you're cheering the FBI because they raided Donald Trump. No, if Donald Trump committed crimes, I want him to be prosecuted. If Hunter Biden committed crimes, I want him to be prosecuted. If Hillary Clinton committed crimes, I want her to be prosecuted. If Wall Street bankers that tanked the global economy committed crimes, they should be prosecuted. And as part of that prosecution, I don't know, their homes might need to be raided if they're not complying with a subpoena. But it was interesting. I didn't have to look far. Because Jimmy, back in the day, I don't know, he seemed, some might call it, to be cheering the FBI when it came to Hillary Clinton. Colin, let's play this clip. This is in a galaxy long, long ago, circa 2016, when Jimmy Dore wasn't a raving anti-vaxxer, anti-science lunatic. Let's play Jimmy in 2016 in reference to Hillary Clinton's emails.
Turns out this is a real thing. This is more serious than we've all been. I see the benefit that Hillary Clinton has is that she has been under investigation for bullshit things so many times. Benghazi, Travelgate, Whitewater, all this stuff that can, and what they got him on was he lied under oath about a BJ. And so that's why she's going under oath. So they might not get her, but she might lie under oath about something, just like her husband did, right? So this is more, and by the way, her doing this is already wrong. Like, it's already illegal. If a regular person wouldn't have access to do this, but at the same time, if someone did something as egregious as what she's done, they'd already be under indictment.
Like if the Department of Transportation had an undersecretariat, right, who had done a private email server, he'd be in a world of trouble.
World of trouble. That had secrets that other people... See, here's the thing. So now there's hackers who have said they've hacked into her email server. So that's why this is such a big deal.
They'd already be indictment under indictment if a regular person did this. Interesting. Didn't seem to have a problem with the FBI back then. Didn't seem to have a problem with the FBI, the DOJ, possibly going after Hillary Clinton then. I mean, some people might actually look at that as him cheering for them to go after Hillary Clinton. And by the way, he was right. If a regular person did what Hillary Clinton did, they'd be behind bars. No questions asked. I agree with him. So why is 2022 Jimmy Dore? Again, Colin, show the tweet, Jimmy's first tweet, accusing Nina Turner of somehow celebrating when lefties cheer on the FBI. You know they're serious about being a Democrat? Huh. That's kind of interesting, the difference there. So the DOJ, the FBI, Hillary should be indicted. We don't believe it's cheering the FBI we don't believe it's cheering the DOJ or the FBI if they go after Hillary Clinton for an indictment. But when Donald Trump is raided, we shouldn't focus on why was the former president raided, what crimes might he have committed. We shouldn't actually report to our audience the long history of crimes we know he committed, including money laundering, tax fraud, et cetera, et cetera. We should run cover for the former president to our right-wing audience, because he is playing to the right wing, just like Glenn Greenwald is. And we should draw a straw man argument that you're celebrating the FBI if you're cheering the raiding of Mar-a-Lago. I just thought that was kind of interesting. And by the way, that's just one clip. I'm sure if I go find more clips of Jimmy Dore talking about the FBI, talking about Hillary Clinton being raided, talking about that Hillary Clinton should be indicted, we'll see a much different tune. It's just very interesting to me that Jimmy's focus is on Nina Turner is celebrating, or leftists are celebrating the FBI by thinking a corrupt president who might have committed crimes should be held accountable. What's the alternative? Would you prefer if they have evidence that Donald Trump committed a crime? If they have evidence that Donald Trump has classified material there? If they have evidence that Donald Trump might be doing something nefarious with classified material, not to go get the material because FBI bad? FBI tyranny? I mean, I don't even understand the point. There is no point. It's literally his shtick now is simply just to attack progressive people. It's just to attack progressives. And that doesn't mean there's no valid criticisms of Nina Turner. I criticize the squad. I criticize Bernie. I just did a video criticizing Bernie. There's plenty of legitimate criticisms to make of elected progressives, of Bernie Sanders, of Nina Turner. But that's not what he's doing. He's literally trying to run cover for Donald Trump without coming out simply transparently and being a right winger, and without coming out transparently and saying Donald Trump is under attack, this is tyranny. He's not going to do that because he wants some plausible deniability that he's still a leftist. But when it comes to Hillary, bad, big deal. She should have been indicted. A regular person would be indicted for classified information, for sharing classified information through a private server and private emails. Donald Trump literally takes boxes worth of classified information. Nina Turner is celebrating the FBI. You see the difference there? That's why, I don't do like 25. I don't really do videos where like I put Jimmy Dore in a headline. I try not to. I don't do a lot of videos like pointing out other YouTubers because Status Coup, we try to actually do substance. If you're new to this channel, I just got back from a reporting tour. I was on the road for 8 days. We were in Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia. We did something very radical. We actually went out and talked to working class people. We interviewed homeless people. We interviewed poor people. We exposed that the economy is not in the midst of a historic recovery. It's really an economic hellscape out there. Go watch those videos. Support this reporting if you can by becoming a member. StatusCoup.com/join. You can become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month for live streams as well as on the ground reporting. But I got to say, even though I don't like really being sidetracked and getting into the mud with people like Jimmy Dore are making people that I believe are actually good leftists who want the same things we all want to just basically manipulating them with numbnut shit like this. They're basically making them think that the enemies are like Nina Turner or like Bernie Sanders, and they're distracting people away from like Trump and like, crimes and fascists to basically draw complete bullshit strawmans that you're celebrating the FBI by simply pointing out Republican hypocrisy over the FBI. And the problem, not just with Jimmy, but like online media anyway, is it's become so tribal that if people like a certain YouTube host or people like a certain journalist, they have blinders on. They have complete blinders on and they can't take them off. So if their fearless leader, whether it's Jimmy, Glenn, or anybody else, if they're criticized, they can't see straight. They immediately knee jerk. Oh, you're taking them out of context, or oh, you're a Democrat, and they give Jimmy and Glenn benefits of the doubts and so much room that they would never give anyone else for the same things. So to be clear, no one is celebrating the FBI by thinking it's a good thing if a former president who potentially committed crimes is brought to justice. It's not celebrating the FBI. No reasonable, objective person thinks that. You're not going to get the material by sending in the Coast Guard. You're not going to get the classified material that he hasn't given back all of it by sending in the Boy Scouts. I mean, it's nonsensical. It just makes no sense. It would be the equivalent of like the police, I don't know, caught a rapist, or the police, I don't know, shot and killed somebody, a mass shooter. Would you say you're celebrating the police if you think that's a good thing? No. It's complete stupidity. It's complete distraction. It's complete straw man, red herring, and nonsense. And that's what it's meant for. There is legitimate criticisms of the FBI. They've been planting evidence for decades and decades and decades. You have COINTELPRO, which was a terrible program they used to infiltrate, surveil the civil rights movement, indigenous people. Hell, they even did it to the women's rights movement. So plenty of things to slam the FBI on. I would love the FBI to be abolished right next to the CIA. Would love it. I would love the military to be cut by 75%. Those are all good things, but they're not like mutually exclusive with like, yeah, if the former president, whether it's Trump, Obama, Clinton, if they've committed crimes, go after them. It's just nonsensical. So let's read some super chats. Double K 1999. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Double K. 437. Thanks. $5. Traitor or enemy, which is worse? Dems are the former Republicans, the latter. I think Democrats and Republicans are pretty much the same. I think Republicans are more like, the kind of fascism we think of back in the day. They're growing into that. I think Democrats are more corporate fascists. Double K, another 1999. Thank you, Double K. Double K, another 1999. Double K, another $19.99. Thank you so much. Fly Chomper Fly, $2. Sorry, Jimmy is an anarchist. Don't overanalyze it. Yeah, I wish it was as simple as he's an anarchist. He's not. Jimmy's a grifter. If you look at clips from 2016, 2017, 2018, Jimmy Dore, and then you look at today, nobody sincerely and genuinely changes to that degree. Nobody. He has seen where the political temperature is. He has seen where the political winds go. And he has basically decided, I'm going to focus on, putting out misinformation and bullshit about COVID, which he has done over and over again. I'm going to focus on attacking Bernie, the squad, doing 20 videos a week on that. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with criticizing them, but notice how many videos he does criticizing Republicans or white supremacy or conspiracy theories. Go look at his channel, see how many videos he does on that. And then when he says, well, why would I do that? There's plenty of that out there. Yeah, that's always been bullshit. He was happy to criticize Republicans when he was at the Young Turks. Actually, when he was on the Young Turks, there's a clip out there saying people who ever worked or appeared on Fox News should not be invited back into polite society. That clip is out there. So back in the day, he criticized the Democrats, but he didn't ignore Republicans. He didn't ignore Republican extremism. He didn't ignore Republican white supremacy. He didn't ignore Republican attacks on the working class. Fast forward 5 years when it is definitely more financially incentivizing to simply spend 99.9% of your time attacking the Democratic Party, progressives, because it plays to a right-wing audience. All of a sudden, yeah, I don't need to talk about Republicans. There's plenty of that out there. So that's what I think about Jimmy Dore. But we'll stay on this. We will keep covering this. As you know, if you're a Status Coup OGer, we're not a channel that covers Trump 24/7. Frankly, it would have made me a lot more money if we did do that. It would have made me a lot more money if we did cover Trump, Russia till we were blue in the face. We choose to cover Flint, the water crisis, the cover-up. We choose to cover tax on the working class. We choose to cover the economic Hunger Games that exists. Colin, if you could get the for new viewers. Actually, Colin, can you get the montage of the reporting trip we just took? Maybe we could show that to new viewers. That would be great to show that. We choose to cover the bullshit the corporate media puts out there about the economic recovery, the historic economic times. We're out there talking to the people about local corruption. We're out there talking to the people about how inflation is crushing them. We're out there talking to people who are homeless. We're actually doing something that corporate media will never do. Getting out there and showing you reality rather than the contrived narratives that the left and the right put out there. And if you don't know what we're talking about, here's our latest reporting trip.
According to a new CNN poll. Ben, I got to be quick with you, but final thoughts.
Sure.
The January 6 hearings may be taking a break, but revelations about Donald Trump's complicity in
the House January 6 committee is getting ready for prime time,
including the actions that took place on the day of January 6th.
New developments today in the Justice Department's January.
Just everything's rising. When I first got my car, it's a 2016. It was $25 to fill up. Now it's probably close to 60, 70.
I always say to people, I only work half days. Half day to me is 12 hours.
We know what inflation is. We've lived it. We're the ones who suffer through it. This is so they can cut programs, they can raise up unemployment, and lay people off and don't pay them a living wage. We know their little game.
I had to count change the other day to put gas in my car to get my daughter to where she needed to go. Like, yeah, it's a struggle, it's a scrape.
Are we in a recession, and does the term matter?
No, we aren't, and no, it doesn't. I mean,
one sentence, that was it, huh?
Yeah, that was it. It's none of the usual criteria that real experts use says that we're in a recession right now. And what does matter? The state of the economy is what it is.
Show me where the economy is coming back, and I'll show you a population in the homeless camps that will astound you. It's sickening. There's more people coming every day.
This is the residents we're camping out, because this could be us in 2 months.
if we don't find housing. We could be homeless.
I mean, I don't mind starting all over, but where do you go from here? Because everywhere we go is where they want to build again. And then we got to move again. Build again, and we got to move again.
Homelessness in Philly it's ridiculous. We're looking at there being enough empty houses in Philly to house every homeless person that's here, and still have houses left over to fix up and rent or sell at market rate.
You can't afford gas to protest. And people have to work. They can't take time off of work to go and organize that way.
I'm stressed about I have to make sure we have enough money and make sure I can get gas in the car, I have food and everything. Mode. Yeah, you're just constantly in survivor mode where it's can't think about doing anything else.
Right. You can see it was a rip-roaring 2021. The U.S. economy last year, the strongest since the Reagan administration.
If you look at our job market, consumer spending, business investment, we see signs of economic progress.
I mean, if my next 3 or 4 quarters, essentially a year, aren't good, I'm going to have to sell. You know, I'm literally going to have to sell a business that I've worked and killed myself 15 years for, which, was never an option for me. It was never an option.
No, there's...
Oh my God. Yeah. Having a family or having a kid right now seems like it...
Impossible.
No, I just can't imagine it happening.
Yeah.
Not in my lifetime getting pregnant.
And the child tax credit, those few months you gave that and everything, all that's done been gone. And what did we do with it? We've spent it. We put it right back in the economy, and the filthy rich got every bit of it right back.
I work for state government, and a lot of state workers work more than one job because they don't make enough on the one job, which is full-time. Working for state government, they don't make enough money, so they have to pick up another job in order to feed their families.
Are on Medicaid. A number of them qualified because they make such poor salaries.
My first year, I could tell you the name of pretty well everybody that was houseless in Morgantown, and there's no hope of doing that now. There's new faces every day, it seems like, and not just one or two, crowds.
You can't be in a recession when you've got 300,000 plus jobs being created a month and unemployment at 3.6% and spending where it is. So not in recession yet.
I struggle every day, and I have to fake it because you don't want your children to see you struggling. Right. I grew up struggling. I grew up in this area watching my mom struggle with addiction and not having a job, and I had to grow up fast for my age to provide for my siblings. And it's a shame that I'm still doing it 10, 15 years later.
You hear all these people talking about how they're pro-life. They're pro-life, right? Homelessness is one of the leading killers of people in this country.
So what you're seeing right now is police, for some reason, entering this camp. The couple houseless people are sleeping, relaxing. What is your best guess why the police are here at the moment?
My best guess would be probably some bullshit drug charge. I mean, they're also usually coming in to sweep people looking for warrants and then snatched away about 14 people, took them to jail. Many of them were out a couple days later, and they just came right back here. What was the point?
And now it seems like Akron is hunting its own homeless. It doesn't matter where we go. If we put up a tent, they're there tearing it down. The little bit of personal belongings and memories that we had, Akron has bulldozed over.
And they try to split us. They try to us and them, and it's not a us and them. Republicans, Democrats, we're all out here. We're all working 2 jobs, and now the price of everything is we wasn't making it working 2 jobs. What are we supposed to do?
The confluence of a bunch of unusual events at the same time is a different mix. An unknown period during the pandemic, and there were people that needed help. There were people that needed support. Unfortunately, we're not really great at directing in a very specific way to people that need help. We wind up kind of directing it very broadly.
You would have gone smaller, done it differently.
I would have gone smaller.
Apparently we're all on opioids too. Because that's the reason we can't give out a child tax credit. But I think it was 100,000 children were benefiting from that.
Right.
We keep getting this lip service and we're not getting anything. And at what point are we going to get fed up? With both parties. And that's what's happening. Yeah. People are getting fed up with both parties.
Nobody could have foresaw the pandemic coming. Everybody saves for a rainy day. He's got a little nest egg saved up. That was going in 6 months, man. That was going in 6 months.
Housing is like the elephant in the room that is not getting the attention that it needs because it's the underlying factor for everything. If you're not housed, you can't do shit with your life.
Minimum wage in Philadelphia is a little over $8. Might be right around $8 an hour.
Right.
You know, like, there's no way for you to live on that.
They're not raising the minimum wage. You know,
What's the minimum wage here?
I believe it's $8.10.
But we've watched our rates increase by pennies over the past few years. You know, my rent is going up. They're increasing the rent in my one bedroom from $1,550, including parking and utilities, to $1,900, not including parking or utilities.
Fell in, tubs fell through the ceiling, out the bathroom, maggots forming in their utility rooms and termites.
Look at what they're voting. Look at their policies. Look at what they've done. Quit voting for a name. Quit voting for the same old because you don't want to think or look at what's happening.
This new GDP report is a bad sign, but it's not definitive, as the White House is pointing out, as Janet Yellen pointed out on Sunday on Meet the Press. The jobs numbers are great.
Exactly. All these voters and the Democrats and Republicans, it's just what, red team versus blue team? It's all the same team. It's just bread and circuses, and I'm hoping people will start to see. I'm sure they are. I mean, nothing has changed really with Biden versus Trump.
It got worse in a little.
It got worse, and I'm seeing all these fucking stickers, you know, the I did this Biden pointing at the gas prices. It's like, they all did this. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
A statement of defiance needs to be had for those that are being displaced and put out in these streets. I'm addressing y'all directly right now. Stand up, because if you don't, you lose. We lose as a people if you do nothing. So standing up is vitally important.
All we have got is you and ourselves to get out here, and we've got to go protest. That's all we've got. We don't have the money for that kind of media, for that kind of outreach. That's the reason it's going to take all of us joining our resources and our voices together.
I think we need to tell these stories, cover things, not when they're breaking, like breaking news, but when they're breaking, like shit's breaking. Society is breaking. The culture is breaking. So that was our recent reporting trip, because we do something very radical for YouTubers. We leave the studio and we actually go out there and report. We cover the stories that the corporate media covers up. So we're not like all Trump all the time. We're covering Trump now and this week because it's kind of a big news story when the former president of the United Corporations of America, yes, we live in the United Corporations of America, when his home is raided. We obviously have to cover that. But what's really, really important, if you're new to Status Coup, subscribe. First of all, subscribe to this channel. But that kind of reporting, I mean, I really don't know any other outlet, honestly, that's on the ground doing it, talking to the people. These people that I interviewed will never be on CNN. They will never be on MSNBC. They will never be quoted in the New York Times or the Washington Post. So if you can, support us. $5 to $10 a month. You could support us as a Status Coup member. StatusCoup.com/join. Become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. We're going to be doing our members only call next week. It's through Zoom. So we do that once a month. And you don't have to be on camera if you want. You could just listen. But I always, we go on for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. I take your questions, comments, concerns. So that's always a lot of fun. We actually get out there. And these stories are not the sexy stories. These stories are not the stories that will go viral. But these are the stories that are important because it actually shows the alternative reality that the corporate media creates. It actually shows reality on the ground. So when CNBC and CNN and the New York Times are telling you, oh, the job numbers were double what they were expected to be, 525,000 jobs, and the economy's coming back and inflation's getting better. We actually go out there and show you, actually, no, it's fucking hell out there. People are working 2 to 3 jobs. People are rationing medicine, essential needs. People are losing their businesses. People are being evicted. Homeless people, in their words, are being hunted by the police. So this is who we are. I hope you'll subscribe to this channel. If you can support us financially, again, statuscoup.com/join. You can become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Follow us at Status Coup on Twitter. You could also sign up for our text message list, so you'll get a text message when we're live. That's at statuscoup.com/text. And we'll continue covering new developments. I believe that a judge will approve the search warrant to raid Mar-a-Lago probably this week, since it's obviously within the public interest and the country is at a tipping point. We already saw a man attack the FBI office in Cincinnati earlier. We are seeing very, very violent rhetoric, not only on YouTube shows, on Fox News, but in all these chats. The Donald, which is a popular blog for Donald Trump or chat room for Donald Trump, people are calling to arm themselves, violent revolution, war, start shooting. We're seeing all these things. So we need the truth about why Trump's compound was raided, what crimes the DOJ and FBI wrote down on the search warrant they believe were committed, and we could go from there. I'm going to be doing a call-in live chat at 4 o'clock, so in about 10 minutes. So that is the live podcasting platform where you could actually call in live. So I'll be on call-in. If you're not on there yet, get on over there. Download the app. You could download it on iPhone or Android. It's CALLIN. And once you download the app, just follow Status Coup on call-in. And I'll be live there at 4 o'clock Eastern, so in about 10 minutes. I just got to pee before that, and we'll be taking your calls live on this and other stories. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the super chats. Let me make sure I didn't miss any. Oh, Jay Sharp, $20. Don't agree with you on everything, Jordan, but you have stayed with my hometown, Flint, Michigan. For that, Flint and I will be forever grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we don't, I don't know where it became a thing where you have to agree on every single thing with YouTube commentators or journalists. Like, I don't think we should agree on everything. It's healthy not to agree on everything. But I agree with you. I'm going to continue covering Flint. I actually have a story I'm working on right now on Flint. That's a major, major story that I'm hoping will be published over the next month. So thank you for that. What is happening in Flint, to me, is the biggest government cover-up of the 21st century. Let me repeat. The Flint water cover-up is the biggest government cover-up of the 21st century. I have reported, Status Coup has reported on this for years. I've reported major stories in The Intercept, in The Guardian, for Vice, right here at Status Coup, and the mainstream corporate media has buried all of it because they don't give a fuck about poor black and white people who have been poisoned and left to die in Flint, Michigan. So we'll continue covering it. I really hope if you're new to Status Coup, you'll subscribe to the channel, click the bell for all notifications. You could also get our merchandise at our store, statuscoup.com/store, where we have awesome swag, including the United Corporations of America t-shirt. One of my favorites is the top selling shirt we have. We also have a Fossil Fuckers shirt, another favorite, and some other merchandise there. So go to statuscoup.com/store, statuscoup.com/store to get your Status Coup swag. That's another great way that we could get more revenue. Thank you for watching. Again, I'll be live on call-in in about 10 minutes. Thank you for watching, and I will see you over at call-in on 5 minutes. And welcome Donald, by the way, who just signed up. Not Donald Trump, but welcome Donald, who just signed up as a Status Coup member. So again, if it's within your means, I totally understand for people that just can't afford it, but if it's within your means, you could join us and support this reporting and commentary for as low as $5 a month. That's 16 cents a day. Think about what you spend $5 a month on. Maybe a cup of burnt Starbucks coffee. You could actually be applying that to support on-the-ground reporting, which is expensive. Flights, rent-a-car, food, gas, hotels, equipment we need to purchase. It all costs a lot of money. So if you can support us, statuscoup.com/join. By the way, normally we're live Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock Eastern. We went live earlier today for obvious reasons because all of this was breaking. But put it in your calendar. We're normally live 5 o'clock Eastern time right here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you over at